event tomorrow, live worldwide, exclusively on the zone.
Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
Do you want me to smash this chair across your face? And then they got separated. They both stood up, and it was good. I like a fighter leaving here with a little bit of spite.
That was a stroke of genius. Personally, I don't see there's any harm in it. This is the entertainment business that we live in now, and if you're not going to be entertaining, you're not going to put...
Moses Itauma loses it at Jermaine Franklin in fiery backstage clash after weigh-in. And this wasn't just post-fight tension, it was pure eruption backstage. Moses Itauma snapped as emotions boiled over after the weigh-in, refusing to back down when confronted by Jermaine Franklin. Security rushed in as voices escalated and tempers flared, turning a routine face-off into a heated chaos that has now made this fight deeply personal.
Tomorrow is scheduled for 10 rounds and will be for the WBA International.
Duke McKenzie doesn't hold back here, and the message is clear: this whole backstage situation has crossed into unnecessary disrespect. What happened with Moses Itauma shows how quickly things can spiral when emotions take over, but the real criticism is aimed at Jermaine Franklin for pushing the situation too far after the weigh-in.
It wouldn't surprise me, but like I say, I don't see there's any harm in it. It doesn't bring the sport into disrepute in any way. This is the show business world that we live in. There's the fight game, and then there's the fight business. And from the business perspective, that's probably just sold another 1 million tickets worldwide to people to watch this fight. Because
Eddie Hearn doesn't sugarcoat it here. This is exactly the kind of situation that can boil over fast. When you're getting poked, provoked, and pushed in a face-to-face, tempers are bound to snap, and that's clearly what happened between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin. The moment threats get thrown around in that heated exchange, it stops being promotion and starts feeling deeply personal.
I think when you're getting poked like that in a face-to-face, after a while the temper goes, and it's good. I think it's going to be that kind.
Simon Jordan doesn't hold back, calling this whole build-up ugly rather than clever promotion. The heated exchanges between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin may grab attention, but he argues it's slipping into cheap hype boxing doesn't need. Still, in today's fight business, controversy often outweighs purity, and moments like this keep the spotlight burning even if the sport's image takes a hit.
Great promotion. I think it's great promotion. I think it's ugly. I think it's
not a cheap shot.
But they don't. Of course, it's a cheap shot.
Do you know what I'm surprised, Simon?
Boxing is littered with cheap shots.
They don't need to sell the fight, really, do they?
Exactly, Danny. Well, they do and they don't. To the boxing world,
pay-per-view, you mean?
Yeah,
Simon, people see through it.
There's only one thing worse than people talking about you. It's people not talking about
Yeah, but it's how they're talking about you. Look at the messages coming.
Jermaine Franklin fires back with real confidence after the backstage drama, insisting his awkward, unpredictable style can trouble anyone. He believes fighters like Moses Itauma will struggle once they feel his rhythm changes inside the ring. After the tension we saw, this isn't just talk anymore. Franklin is clearly trying to shift pressure back and turn mind games into a real fight advantage.
At the top of my game, I'm hard to adjust to. I don't have one particular style, and I can derail other people's styles and make them change their game up. So it's not an easy fight like people think. Once you get in there with me, you see the difference, you see the awkwardness, you see stuff that you haven't really experienced, so it makes the fight harder on you as a fighter.
Edo Oladipo reflects on how press conferences have changed, and this one felt like a throwback to the old chaotic days. The tension around Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin brought back real pressure moments instead of scripted talk. What we saw backstage and in the build-up isn't just modern promotion, it's raw, uncomfortable, and exactly the kind of energy that reminds fans why these events used to feel unpredictable.
Even I felt under the cosh on there, hence why I did the Ronnie Shields thing. I was under pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
I was under pressure, but no, I think press conferences, Carl, since back in your day they were quite entertaining, now they're quite boring. Yeah. But that one was one of the ones that I thought was almost like a throw.
Dave Coldwell breaks it down with a technical eye, pointing out how small actions can escalate everything. In a heated environment between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin, even a minor push or gesture could have changed the entire situation. He suggests there's a thin line between promotion and crossing into something messy, and this fight is already dangerously close to that edge.
If they just shoved it in his chest, the point's still there, but you're not crossing that line, and that would have been
Adam Smith makes it clear that what happened between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin is exactly the kind of controversy boxing can't escape. He admits it shouldn't happen at a head-to-head, but also accepts this is the fight business, where chaos often builds hype. And whether fans like it or not, moments like this add intrigue and push the fight into another level. According to him, casual fans will absolutely feast on this storyline, and the controversy has already made the matchup bigger than it was before.
The fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next. And I'm a storyteller, and I love the interest and intrigue in matchups, and I think this is a fight that the casuals will just revel in. Is it controversial? Have we already seen controversy at a press conference?
After all the noise, Moses Itauma keeps his focus cold and controlled. He shrugs off the backlash from the backstage chaos with Jermaine Franklin, making it clear that distractions don't matter to him. In his mind, it's all about what happens inside the ring, not the emotions outside it. That calm response adds another layer to this rivalry. While Franklin brings unpredictability and attitude, Itauma is showing tunnel vision and discipline. The contrast between the two is now becoming one of the biggest talking points heading into fight night.
I don't care. I don't care. Whether he's game or whether he's not game, it doesn't make a difference, because I'm only worried about what I'm going to do.
Frank Warren steps in with a promoter's reality check, saying the backstage drama was unnecessary despite the attention it brought. He makes it clear that while promotion is part of boxing, situations like the one between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin go beyond what should happen. In his view, the fight itself is strong enough without added chaos. Still, even he admits that controversy always fuels interest, but warns that too much of it risks overshadowing the actual sporting contest.
If people think because you're a promoter you like all that stuff, me, I didn't like what happened.
Moses Itauma calls this fight the final piece of his development puzzle, and that adds serious weight to everything we've seen so far. After the heated clash with Jermaine Franklin, this isn't just about skill anymore. It's about proving composure under pressure. Itauma believes this is the test that answers key questions for both his team and the fans. And with emotions already boiling over, the stakes feel even higher. This is no longer just a fight. It's a defining moment in his rise through the heavyweight ranks.
I feel like this is like the kind of final piece to the puzzle. There's questions that my team want to know about me. There's questions that I want to know about myself, and I'm sure that there's a lot of questions that the fan wants to know about me as well. So I feel like Jermaine Franklin is the final piece of the puzzle. So when I get asked about other fighters, that's not gonna happen if I don't get through Jermaine Franklin. So this is a serious fight.
Jermaine Franklin speaks with clear frustration, saying he feels disrespected by everything that has happened leading into this fight with Moses Itauma. But at the same time, he refuses to let it break his focus. He calls it part of boxing politics, the mind games, the pressure, and the tricks that come with big fights. Despite the backstage tension and heated moments, Franklin insists he is locked in and ready to fight. This response shows a fighter trying to turn disrespect into motivation, adding even more emotional fuel to an already explosive matchup.
I mean, I feel disrespected by it, but it's part of the game. I'm used to the politics, I'm used to the tricks, everybody does, so I'm just ready to fight.
Roy Jones Jr. gives a calm, experienced take on Moses Itauma, highlighting how serious and composed he has looked throughout fight week. According to him, Itauma isn't just going through the motions, there's intent behind every move, and that focused energy stood out. In contrast to the chaos with Jermaine Franklin, this adds a different angle to the narrative: control versus emotion. Jones suggests that calmness like this can be dangerous in a young fighter, especially in a heated buildup where others are already losing composure.
I was just going through the motion. He's serious about it, so I liked it.
Yeah, his energy was very calming throughout the week.
Yes, it was.
Odd Oladipo breaks down the stylistic side of this matchup, pointing out that while Moses Itauma may bring his own problems, physically both fighters are closely matched in size. He believes this plays right into the kind of fight Jermaine Franklin wants, because Franklin comes to engage and make it messy. That could either trouble Itauma or perfectly suit his strengths depending on how he handles pressure. After the backstage tension, this analysis adds another layer. Now it's not just emotional, it's also about who can impose their style under real fight conditions.
Moses brings his own problems to Jermaine, but they're probably around the same height, maybe Moses a couple of inches taller. I like this matchup. Stylistically, I like this matchup as well. Jermaine comes to fight. and that could sort of fall into Moses' hands.
Liam Guff describes Moses Itauma versus Jermaine Franklin as a strong developmental step, calling Franklin a solid and awkward opponent who has already tested elite names like Dillian White. He notes that Franklin even gave a competitive performance in that fight, which shows he is far from an easy night. For Itauma, this is a real measuring stick, a chance to see how he performs under pressure against someone durable and experienced. After the heated buildup, this adds weight to the idea that this is not just hype, but a genuine test of progress and maturity.
I think that Jermaine Franklin versus Moses Itauma is a really good fight for Itauma's progression. I think he's a solid opponent. I've got no issues whatsoever. It's on a very good card. No mention of pay-per-view as well, which is even better. But it's a solid opponent. Jermaine Franklin, when he fought Dillian White, going into that fight, I kind of looked at him and thought, he looked awkward, but nothing special. He gave a good account of himself against Dillian White. Some people actually felt that he did enough to win the fight. I wasn't one of them. I thought Dillian White won the fight.
Dev Sani highlights exactly what makes this fight interesting. Can Moses Itauma go beyond early expectations and handle rounds against a live opponent like Jermaine Franklin? He compares it indirectly to other British heavyweights, questioning whether Itauma can do better than what others have managed in similar situations. Franklin coming forward adds real pressure, and that is where the real test begins. After the backstage chaos, this becomes more than just a prospect fight. It becomes a test of stamina, patience, and whether Itauma can break down a durable opponent over time.
This is going to be a case of, let's see, 1, if we can get rounds. 2, can he do a better job than Anthony Joshua and Dillian White did? Can he get rounds but also get him out of there? I guess that's kind of the question for Moses. But for me, this is the perfect bit of matchmaking. This is everything that fight fans have wanted. They want to see what happens when Moses Itauma goes a few rounds, has someone who's coming.
Lawrence Okolia delivers a very honest breakdown of the fight between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin, saying it is completely 50-50 depending on the style Franklin brings. He explains that if Franklin stays disciplined and measured, he could make things difficult and drag Itauma into uncomfortable situations. But if he tries to come in aggressively and trade on the inside, that could play straight into Itauma's explosive strengths. Okolia highlights Itauma's natural speed, power, and technical ability, but also gives a reality check. No matter how gifted a fighter is, maintaining intensity and focus over 12 rounds is a different challenge entirely. After the heated backstage clash, this adds a serious tactical layer to the story. It is no longer just emotion and tension, but also a true stylistic battle where one mistake or one shift in rhythm could completely change the outcome of the fight.
50-50. Personally, it depends on what style he brings. So it's like, I think if he's like measured, then yes. But if he does what I think he might try and do, which is I'm gonna show this guy, get inside and work like clever shots, I don't think so. I think with someone like Moses, who is naturally so explosive and so quick and technical, he's got so many good attributes, but as we've seen with in any sport across any profession, that explosiveness, in my opinion, cannot happen for 12 rounds. It never happened.
Odd Oladipo makes a strong case that Jermaine Franklin is the perfect development opponent for Moses Itauma, stressing that fighters like Itauma cannot be rushed. He acknowledges that fans always want to see prospects thrown in with elite killers, but development in boxing requires timing and patience. Franklin, being a top 30 level fighter who has already shared the ring with Anthony Joshua and Dillian White, offers a valuable comparison point. Oladipo explains that this is where real evaluation happens, not just in winning, but in how Itauma performs relative to other top names who face the same opponent. After the heated backstage tension, this commentary shifts focus back to logic and progression. It suggests that Franklin is not just an opponent, but a measuring stick for growth. And the fight becomes less about hype and more about learning where Itauma truly stands in the heavyweight landscape.
I honestly thought this is the perfect opponent for Moses' development. You can't rush Moses. I know everyone wants to see him in there with killers. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I think he's ready. But the fact is, you do have to take your time with Moses, and I think someone like a Jermaine Franklin, who is a top 30 guy, top 30 guy, who again, we've seen him with AJ and Dillian White, so we can compare Moses' performance against him and compare it to...
This fight has now gone far beyond a simple matchup between Moses Itauma and Jermaine Franklin. The backstage clash, the heated exchanges, and the growing disrespect have turned it into a full-blown emotional war. If Itauma wins, it confirms him as one of the most dangerous rising forces in boxing, someone who can stay composed under pressure and deliver when it matters most. But if Franklin pulls off the upset, it changes everything, proving experience, awkwardness, and mental toughness can break even the brightest prospects. The real question now is not just skill, but mentality. Who wants it more when the pressure peaks? Are you backing Moses Itauma to dominate, or do you see Jermaine Franklin shocking the world? Drop your thoughts below.